Dr. Jazz. Dr. Jazz.
You know, done.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, done these talks with, you know, like many guys you played with Gerald and with Russ and many others, and you know.
Who you just interviewed?
Oh, the last one was like, shit.
No, Russ. I mean, you just interviewed Russ. I said, yeah.
Yeah. It came out. I mean, we did the interview like in September, I think, or in August or something. But
Right.
It's usually like a backlog, so you know.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. You know, such a player. So
He is, yeah.
one of the kind, one of the most underrated pianists, if you ask me. Really, like
He's the most underrated pianist I ever met in my life.
Yeah, more people should know about him, definitely. So
yeah, that's weird, huh? Yeah, sometimes.
yeah, so some of you know, I've done these talks with so many guys who I think should be like, you know, in my ears and eyes, like play way more in Europe, at least the guys from New York, you know. So it's amazing. Or some guys haven't even done tours as band leaders in Europe. Some of these, you know, it's incredible. It's when you think about it. But
it will be less and less, I guess. But
yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But Samuel, I want to start with. I listened to the last one, with Voyageurs, with. Marc Ducret. You know, Ducret is for me, you know, being a guitarist, one of the unsung heroes of modern jazz guitar, let's say. You know, and I wanted to ask you, how does your story with Marc begin? I mean, I have that album Boundless. I think that was the first.
Oh yeah.
One. But how does your story with Marc begin?
Well, it's back in 2009. I had a band with Tyshawn, Sorey, Thomas Morgan, and Todd Neufeld, and we toured. We toured quite a bit with that band, and I needed a change after a few tours, and so I was working with that agent in France, and who was also the agent of Marc. And since I needed a change and I wanted something more anchored in Europe, I saw that he was working with Marc, and I loved Marc back then already. And so I asked him, can I get in touch with Marc? And he said, well, let's try. And that's how it started. I think Marc listened to my last recording and wanted to give it a try. And so I organized one tour. I wasn't sure we could go further because I remember asking him, would you be available for another tour? And he said, well, let's see. And I was, oh no, maybe he didn't like me. But the good thing is I knew that he liked the trombone, and and we got along. And then, he made a few other tours with my quartet.
Yeah.
And then I organized tours in duets, and then trio, then so many other things. And then he started hiring me in his band, and now it's a nice collaboration actually. So we've been playing together since 2009.
Oh wow, that's long. 12 years. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean it starts to be a nice story, and Voyageurs is our first studio recording, actually. The rest is only live recordings, because Marc never liked to go in studio, and so I pushed him this time. I said, okay, let's actually make a studio recording. Would be nice, no? So and it was a nice experience.
Yeah, it's how did you guys prepare? I mean, for this one, because it's a duo, you know, guitar and trombone, so it's quite unusual. I don't know of many guitar trombone duos actually.
Mangelsdorf and John Schofield.
Oh yeah, that concert. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think it's only one track or two tracks.
It's one track. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's like a duet recordings. I always love duets. I think it's it's a nice combination. You know, I have duets with drummers a lot. Pierre Favre, that's one of my favorite combination. Guitar is also great because it gives you a lot of space. But I also play duet with Russ Lossing. But it's where I like to play duets with piano players because they usually eat all the range.
Yeah.
But Russ has something different. He's really a talented piano player because he really can accompany you. Yeah, and he can accompany you in the right range. He never eats your sound spectrum. So that's why I like to play with guitar players because you know, the sound spectrum is like it's completing the sound of the trombone. And so what did I wanted to say?
I wanted to ask you, how did you approach this, you know, like the duo record? How did you guys talk about, you know, because I listen to the tunes and there are many times you go into some free sections and you come back and like, how did you arrange? Did you just start playing or how, you know, duo it's quite heavy in a way because it's
well, I mean, we've been playing for so many years together. So the good thing about that is we developed a common vocabulary and we know each other perfectly. So that's actually one good advantage for that combination is even if we create improvised section, they do make sense in a way. I mean, to my ears at least. And to one's ears that is used to our music, maybe. But then, so we brought natural like melodies and then you're frozen. Or you're not frozen. It's good. So yeah, we actually brought different kind of melodies and then decided, okay, let's start with an improvisation here, and then we merge into the melody. But if you listen to the second track, I think it's État lumineux. Maybe. Yeah. So this one has specific section. The first section is completely written, the rhythmical section, then goes into like a sort of a choral for Marc, and then I improvise a bit around one note, which is a D. And then we improvise again, and then it goes into another section that is rhythmical again, and then at the end it goes into like a slow melody, and so it's quite clear actually. It's very defined, and so it's improvised, but not really in the end. It's pretty organized,
like organized improv in a way with.
It's actually elastic. In the frame, it's elastic.
I love that also because on your Bandcamp you have the sheet music, and you know it's nice to listen to the tune and look at the sheet music. For me as a musician, you know, it's like
definitely for everyone.
And how do you like? You many times like you said, your tunes go like through different territories. How do you when you compose? How do you imagine that like? What's your process usually when composing? Like,
well, usually I write a piece that would stand by itself, so you could actually play the piece like miniatures, and then after that, if I bring that to Marc or Russ or any other players, then we start playing with the material that is that I composed. But what I like to write is like a piece that would actually be like I don't know, like Kurtag. You know, György Kurtag, who writes like small statements. And I like that concept actually. And it works well for us because we are improvisers and we are supposed to actually develop the ideas that are exposed. Except that Kurtag is never really developing ideas. It's always like a short statement.
Interesting. How did you begin like with this? When was the first moment you realized, let's say, I guess in the 90s, late 90s, that you want to start improvising? Like this jazz moment, when did that happen? I mean, because I was...
When I was 9.
9? Seriously? Wow.
When I started playing the trombone, because we used to listen to a lot of jazz at home, and I always wanted to play jazz. And I always wanted to play the trombone. I mean, since the age of 2.
How come? It's just like attracted you, or?
Well, yeah, probably so. Like the legend says, I saw marching bands
The legend
in the
says that.
streets. The legend. It is a legend now.
Yeah.
Or the myth.
The myth, yeah.
And then I guess I was impressed by, the shyness of the instruments, the fact that it was moving, and it's kind of impressive when you're a kid, I guess. And we listened to jazz, so Louis Armstrong, Ray Charles, I mean R&B, and Harry Belafonte, and so I was kind of swimming in that sound. And when I started to play the trombone, I asked my teacher to actually play a jazz tune, and he gave me Blue Moon.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
I think I will have to play that tune again soon. But yeah.
Like in a new duo with Marc,
So
that would be amazing.
Yeah, that could be nice. So yeah. So and I was lucky enough to study in a conservatory in Switzerland where everybody in the faculty was playing everything, like from Baroque music to classical, contemporary music, and jazz. So everybody was interested in every kind of style. So I started playing in a big band at age 12,
Oh,
and that was my jazz school. I was playing big band every week, every Monday, and I went through the entire repertoire of Count Basie, and then joined the Swiss Jazz School Big Band in Bern, where they didn't have enough trombones, so I was going there not to study, just to play in the big band every Monday.
that's good.
And there, yeah, I played the entire That Jones, Mel Lewis, or repertoire, and improvised. I'm self-taught actually, so with jazz.
Did you like
Like
transcribe
Marc.
them? Yeah. Did you like then transcribe
No.
like JJ or stuff like players like that?
I
Just
listened.
Listened. Okay.
Yeah. Listened and play along. I
Yeah.
started transcribing very late, like for a short moment. When people told me I have to start learning harmony, I was like, "What? No, I play by ear. I mean, I don't want to learn harmony." But I was learning harmony at the conservatory anyway because like Bach, and listening to symphonies and transcribing fugues and stuff like that. So yeah, transcribing solos was kind of easy for me because
Yeah, you had the
I
ear.
discovered I had perfect pitch, so that was helping me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah. So I always wanted to improvise, so that was really part of my life.
Yeah.
Improvising. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. When did then the choice to go to New York happen, and how come?
Oh, well, first I finished my studies in Switzerland and my classical studies, and I think back then I saw a kind of like an advertisement on the wall saying, "Do you want to get a Fulbright grant and get $20,000 and study in New York?" And I was like, "Well, I will try. I mean, I may have no chance." But then, yeah, in between, I was going to Paris every week to study with a trombone player called Geoffroy de Mazure. I don't know if you heard of him.
No.
He teaches in Berlin now at the
Okay.
at the university, and I was going to him every month for 3 days
Oh, wow.
in a row, and we were playing trombone for 10, 12 hours a day, studying Steve Coleman's music and transcribing, do
wow.
everything that I didn't have time to do during my classical studies.
Yeah.
And
That's beautiful.
that was great. That was like going to a mentor. He was kind of my mentor for 2 years. So he helped me getting ready for New York. And meanwhile, I was applying for the Fulbright grant, and I had no trust in getting it, really no trust, because my English was poor. And I thought, who wants to give me a grant like this? And I got it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I got it, and got the Fulbright. Then got accepted at Manhattan School of Music, Juilliard School, but my credits in Switzerland were not accepted. So they told me I had to start bachelor again. I said, no, I don't want to do this. So I went to a small university, I mean, actually large university in New York, but small in terms of reputation. But I went to SUNY Purchase near White Plains, and I studied there with Jim Pugh, Hal Galper, and then John Petrock.
Oh wow!
John Faddis, Jim Rotondi, and that was I thought, yeah, man, I'm going to study jazz now. Yeah. And Jim Pugh told me, oh, you study classical music. So let's get into Elliot Carter's clarinet solo, Gras, and some other classical things. And so I kept studying classical music, in fact. So kind of.
Interesting.
But the purpose of going to New York was, to study was actually getting to New York and meet musicians. So I lived in Brooklyn and commuted to White Plains, so that was like 4 hours back and forth.
That's a long one.
Yeah.
Who were the first guys you met there? Like, because kind of makes I see, like, with Thomas and Tyshawn and all these guys you started connecting. But what were the first connections when you arrived there, and how was that like establishing?
I think the first guy I ever met in Brooklyn, I don't know why and how, but I don't know if you heard of him, but he's a bass player, and he's French, and his name is Nicolas Letman.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Nicolas.
Yeah.
I met him maybe at a gig or something like that, and he said, "Come on Sunday afternoon. I have a session in my place." He had sessions every day. And Gerald Cleaver is coming, and Scott Dubois, or something like this.
Oh wow!
So I said, "Holy cow! Yeah, I'm coming." So actually, he introduced me to a bunch of musicians.
That's how it happened. Okay, wow, interesting.
So I'm very thankful to him because he helped me getting in touch with Scott, and then I met Ziv Ravitz and Peter Van Huffel, and then Thomas Morgan, Neufeld.
Yeah.
Then I got a call from Billy Means once.
Really? Oh wow, man.
Yeah, I was really excited. That was my first serious call. Billy Means for the double bass band with Tony Malaby and John Gross, or maybe
amazing.
I don't remember. Everyone was in the Masa Kamaguchi. That's how I met him. Cameron Brown. And then that's.
How long did you stay there? How long did you stay in New York then?
3 years and a half, I think, or 4 years.
I know. How come you decided to move back? I mean, because you started making like all these connections already, like
quickly,
financially.
No visa. And when you do the Fulbright, you're supposed to go back to your country after your studies.
Oh, okay.
There is always a trick to actually how would you say extend the visa, but I didn't do it because my wife wanted to come back to Germany to study violin in Europe. So that's why we ended up in Berlin, and she was studying in Leipzig, and then got a job at the opera in Berlin. So that's why. But I kept my connection in New York. I used to travel back and forth. I still have my artist visa that is expiring in 2022 sometimes, I guess.
Because you've done all these, I love what you're doing, that you're connecting this. I mean, that's what I've been doing also, like this New York European I love this vibe, we have a different vibe maybe than the New York type, but it's nice to join this together. You get like a nice mix, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how long we can keep doing this, but
yeah, true. No, but Samuel, I wanted to ask you about you released last year Live at Cornelia Street with Paul Motian.
Oh yeah.
And, you've done concerts in Motion also, and how did that connection with Paul happen? I mean, of our generation, one of the biggest heroes, I guess, composition-wise, and of course playing-wise. How did this hookup with Paul happen, and how was it the first time to play with him?
Well, I think it's because it was the 1st of January, I think, in 2009 or something like this, and I was kind of depressed. The usual, like, starting of the year, I have nothing happening, and then I contacted that label in Switzerland. I said, I want to record something for you, and he said, okay, cool, let's do it. And I said, okay, I want to do something with Paul. He said, okay, cool, let's do it. And then I said, okay, I want a producer. And he said, okay, well, and I said, I want to work with Robert Sadin. And he still said, okay. So I thought, okay, then I think I got a deal. And he gave me a deal, a pretty good deal. That was probably the last, last deal.
Can you imagine?
That was, but for that deal, I lost the tape. Because he bought the tape for a nice price.
Yeah.
But I was able to pay the entire session, or actually most of it. And then I thought, okay, if I record with Paul, I need musicians that are actually connected to him. So I'm sure that the recording, since I will have 4 hours, I'm sure that the recording will at least sound like it's a band, So I connected with Russ Lossing.
Yeah, sure.
And Thomas was already in my band. So Thomas actually gave me Paul's number, and then I got in touch with Russ.
How was that call with Paul? Like, was he in the beginning into it, or?
The only thing he said, yeah, great, man, I'm 5K, let me know. That's it. So he said, well, I have to think about it. And he said, well, think about it. Yeah, everybody's paying me 5K, so think about it and call me back. That's it. And then I called him back. I said, okay, I have 5K. Okay. So that's... And then, that was kind of a long story, because then our recording session was in, I think, December 2010. And that was a heavy snowstorm on the entire East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Like heavy. So my flight was delayed for 3 days.
Oh, shit.
And I thought I was missing my recording session, really. And I caught I think that was like back then, a China airline landing in Europe somehow and connecting to New York, and I had 1 seat left. And the lady at Lufthansa, I remember telling her that it must be hard to keep such a nice smile while you have so many angry people wanting to reach the East Coast. And then she said, okay, I have a seat for you, sir. And I got the seats and reached New York. And the next day was the recording session. And I had to pick up Paul at his place. So I went there with a limo, because he wanted a limo. So, and he said, well, man, I was feeling very bad this morning. I thought I would cancel the session. I said, oh no. So, but he was cool. And then, the beginning of the session, he didn't have trust in my music or playing at all.
Sure.
Because he said, after the first take, he said, sounds interesting, man.
Oh, man.
Or sounds like Christmas music to me, or stuff like that.
Oh, man. Oh, fuck. That's savage. That's like old school learning, man. Oh, shit.
Yeah, but, the more... And then the second track was kind of a free one.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the track, I told Paul, maybe that sounded like Christmas music to you, maybe? And then he laughed, and I think we were even.
Then it wasn't. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and by the end of the session, he was. I think he liked it,
yeah.
And after that, it was still snowing out there, and we called cabs, and we had to wait for 3 or 4 hours, something like that, in the studio. So we were talking about football and soccer and baseball and all. I mean, we had nice discussions. And then the studio said, oh, the cab is out there. And I went out, and it was that enormous limo, white limo with massive wheels like this. Like I thought, wow, holy cow! So we all got in, all squeezed in front like this. I remember, and the car was so large, but we were all like squeezed. And we got into Lincoln Tunnel, and I said to the cab driver, "So how much is that drive actually?" And he said something like $350 without tax, sir. I thought, oh no, that was the end of the day, and yeah, well,
Oh
so that
man.
yeah, and then
Oh,
yeah, I got in. I stayed in touch with Paul, and we spoke regularly, and he wanted to play more, and then we did that one gig
yeah,
in June 2011 maybe.
that
That
Cornelia
was it.
gig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my wife recorded that gig with a Zoom H1.
Oh wow, man! Because it sounds cool. I mean, it's a cool recording, really. Like,
It's not that bad. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So she fortunately recorded. It's like on her table, so everybody's like
yeah,
putting
yeah. Right.
beers on the table, and you hear like it's like a cocktail bar. But the gig was recorded, and yeah, I got it mixed and mastered and released it digitally. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
sure.
nice historical. And I wished I would have played on the studio recording like I played at the gig because there were already more connection with Paul.
Sure.
And he
Yeah.
wanted to play more. And Russ told me that Paul wanted to hire him in his band,
Oh man. Oh wow.
but of
Yeah.
course that never happened
Yeah.
because he passed away a couple of months after.
Yeah. Yeah. But still, a beautiful story that that you got to do that. Still, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
that was nice. That was
Yeah.
nice. And yeah, he called me after and sent me a couple of emails. I still have those emails with, he was typing with one finger, so it's like, "Hi, thanks for the gig. Dot 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 dot. Let's play more soon. Dot dot dot." Yeah, I mean, kind of funny actually.
That's amazing, man.
And once he called me, and I thought I was bothering him, so I said, "Okay, let's call later." But he wanted to talk more, and I called it off. But yeah, and then a few months after, he was in the hospital. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Wow.
that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful. It's so much heritage he was carrying. I spoke to Gordon Gardina, the guitarist from
yeah,
Vancouver,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and he said like he called Paul, I think, for his first recording, and
That's right.
they met, and Paul was like taking out cymbals, and he was just like, "Well, do you want this cymbal that I played with Gerald, or do you want this cymbal that I play with Bill Evans, or you want this sound?" And Gordon said like, "Man," and then I was aware like, who this guy actually is. Like, of course, but like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he created so much history, like, in amazing to
yeah.
see.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's the same when I play with Daniel Humer. The drummer in France. I mean,
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Swiss actually, Swiss
yeah, yeah,
drummer in France. Swiss drummer, but he played with everyone but
yeah,
Dizzy Gillespie and Miles, I think.
yeah.
No, and Sonny Rollins. I think he played with Dizzy. Sorry,
Oh,
everyone but Miles and Sonny Rollins. He played with Duke Ellington. Every time I
really?
think about that, yeah,
No, seriously, I didn't know that. Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Lucky Thompson and Buck
Wow.
Powell and all those guys,
Yeah, when
because
those guys.
everyone was coming through Paris, and he
Yeah,
was actually being the rhythm section for those guys. So he
yeah.
played with the entire world.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like all these guys, like Han Benning also. When you check,
Yeah.
who he
hmm
played with, like, it's like really, I mean, it's yeah,
Hank Mobley. He has a recording with Hank Mobley. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's like wow, it's history.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wanted to ask you one thing because when I check your records, you've been extremely prolific as a band leader, right? I mean, like you've done
Yeah.
so much. How do you decide on a project, or what? You did the record with Wallace Rooney, also, who's unfortunately also not here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, how did these stories, for instance, happen? Like with Oliver
Thanks
Lake
to
and that
that
one. Like,
producer.
oh, okay.
Thanks to Robert Sedin. Robert Sedin is my artistic producer in New York, and we are working on a new one now.
Oh, what is it?
And well, well, the band is with John Ellis, Igor Lumpert,
Igor, okay.
Ira Coleman on bass, Jimmy Beans Clements on Jeremy Clements on drums.
Oh wow!
And Russ Lossing on piano, of course. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
And I haven't written the music, but we are recording next year, I think in the spring, and I would like to record something in the vibe of a Charles Mingus, Jelly Roll Morton. You know,
interesting.
I realized lately that I've always liked to combine old with new, like Baroque music and modern music, or Dixieland and free jazz, and or I would say Dixieland and my own musical world.
Yeah.
And I would like to do the same thing with that new band, like have maybe write cakewalks and ragtimes, and then you have that crazy band like and I love that band because it's a nice combination of people that are in the tradition and not. And I love to combine this, because you can really have like some clashes a bit.
Clashes are always good. That's what creates tension, and tension is usually good musically, I think.
Exactly. And and I like to create things that push me out of my box, because otherwise you're always in that gimmick, and you always go in that same vein, and I don't want to stay there because it's too comfortable.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
So I'm also recording like a reggae album right now.
How did it? You did the tribute to Don Drummond also, right?
Exactly.
Like I played in a reggae band for 10 years, so I love reggae.
Oh, really?
I love it. I still love it now. But how did your connection with reggae happen?
Same like jazz. My mom was watching Bob Marley on TV, and I was like sneaking behind the sofa to watch the concert too. And so I grew up with that sound, and then joined a reggae band in Switzerland I was a trombone player in a reggae band for several years. And then I've been a studio trombone player for reggae sessions, for Lee Scratch Perry.
I saw that.
Dennis Bottle, and many other groups. And I played it at the Temporary Jazz Happening, and the promoter, Johan Matti, he's a fan of reggae, and I told him, well, I would be happy to play for your record because he's a singer and a guitar player. And he said, okay, cool. So I recorded trombones for his entire recording. And then at the end, I told him, okay, well, I have one dream, because I did everything for free. And I said, I have one dream, is to actually pay a tribute to Don Drummond at your festival. He said, go for it. You choose the band, and you can get a gig. So I put a nice band together, So Weto Kinch on alto, Michael Blake on tenor, Ira Coleman is on bass, Dion Parson on drums, and Alan Weeks, and Alex Wilson is my angel, for this project. He's also the artistic director, like with Ira, and they help me put the music together and arrange and produce. And we are recording the album now, and it's really exciting. I love it.
Wow. Man, if you need a reggae guitar solo, call me.
Okay. And Lee Perry, I had the chance to have Lee Perry dub 2 tracks for me.
Seriously?
Right before he passed. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How was it like working with him?
Well, I don't really know, because I was in touch with his wife.
Okay. Yeah.
She organized everything for me. But I saw videos of him working in the studio, and I really thought I would pay, and honestly, I thought I would waste the entire fee because I thought he would just do the mix and I mean
Yeah.
the dubs like quickly, go to the studio, do quick. But he actually spent several days at the studio,
Oh wow.
and you see on the video that is like 150% dedicated to the music, and he really created something amazing. And the mixes is like I mean are amazing. Really, it's
Wow.
like another level of creativity.
Wow.
And I wanted him to mix the entire album and do additional dubs, but yeah, he
Yeah.
passed before,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Wow. That's
So many
incredible.
stories of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
a bit
With this.
sad.
Yeah.
Wallace too. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But Ira played with Ernest also, right? Wrangling, didn't he or no?
Yeah, actually, the entire band almost.
They did. Oh,
Soweto was
I
in
just
the
know.
band.
Okay.
Alex Wilson was the keyboard player, and Ira. And yeah, so that I also wanted to have a band that has
Connection.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow.
Temporary was our only gig, and we only had one rehearsal. So I
Yeah.
really
So
wanted to make sure that was not like a nice soup of nice ingredients, but like a connecting soup.
yeah. 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 I agree. Yeah. Beautiful. But one other thing you mentioned before, Albert Mangelsdorf, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And talking about going into this comfort zone. And I wanted to ask you about Solo Bone, your solo trombone record. I've listened to many, to Albert's and to Niels Wolgram did a beautiful one, and Steve Swell and all these guys. And I listened to yours also, and it's incredible, you're using all the extended techniques and approaches in improvising. How
You
is it
mean
for you?
the 18
Yeah,
18 monologue elastic?
yeah.
Mm.
How do you play? How did you approach this? Or if you do a solo trombone gig, because that's like the most intimate level of playing an instrument, being naked with that. Like, how do you approach that, or did you?
That was really a studio production. I mean, there is no edits. I mean, or maybe no, there are no edits actually.
Yeah.
But it's really that was the purpose of that recording was really to work with the acoustic of the
Space.
place. We
Yeah.
went to the XDDR radio studio in Berlin, and the space is kind of empty, or was kind of empty, or still kind of empty. Um, and um, and we actually played with the rooms, and we went there several times, and we decided for each room what kind of things I could play actually. And my help or artistic director was that Swiss engineer called Martin Roux.
Mhm.
And it's actually kind of a duet because he was walking with me with a boom
Yeah.
and two mics
Yeah.
and following me into the rooms. So the solo was designed according to the acoustic of the place.
Okay.
And I had a few ideas, like playing very soft here or playing glissandos here because the acoustic is amazing. Or like you can hear a lot of steps also because we played with like the sound of like walking
Yeah.
also on stones because we recorded in a studio where they used to record sounds, general sounds for movies, like opening doors, walking on stones, on sands. So we actually played,
Yeah.
used the place as a playground.
Yeah.
And that was really like two kids playing. It was amazing, actually. Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, this recording is actually not. It's not possible to hear it live, but a few
Yeah.
pieces. But you will never experience the same thing.
Sure. Yeah. Did
For a
you
live
ever do
recording.
solo trombone gigs also? I mean, do you do them still?
Yeah, many. Yeah.
How do you overcome the fear? I mean, like,
No, I
what is
never.
right or what is wrong? Yeah. Okay.
It's always a lot of pressure, and it's so hard because like it's a monophonic instrument.
Yeah.
Okay, I can play multiphonics,
Yeah.
but it's kind of could be boring at some point because it's always the same sound quality.
Yeah.
But it's hard actually to keep the music at a level that you're not being bored and the audience is not bored.
Yeah.
So I haven't played solo gigs for a couple of years because I haven't worked on a new program. But I'm supposed to record a new one soon again. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting to get a bit more inspiration.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of because what do you want to record? I mean, after Mangelsdorf, like those 3 or 4 recordings are like, it's such a strong footprint. I mean, Niels Vogram's solo is a very nice one, but it sounds like Mangelsdorf a bit.
Yeah, sure. We talked with Niels about that.
Yeah. He did a great one. It's a bright moment.
Bright lights. Bright lights.
Yeah, exactly. Bright lights. Yeah, it's a great one. I mean, he plays really well, and it's well recorded, and I like it. But it's another Mangelsdorf.
Yeah, it's a heavy one.
What interested me? But what interested me for 18 monologues is actually to record something that hasn't been recorded, in a way, like record something that it's a solo trombone that is actually not Mangelsdorf. Okay, there's one track that sounds like a Mangelsdorf one, but that's probably the only one. The rest is I think maybe unique, or maybe not. Maybe someone will say, I heard this already, but to my ears it sounds unique. Yeah, it doesn't sound like Paul Rutherford, doesn't sound like Connie Bauer, George Lewis, or Mangelsdorf. So that was my interest. So if I record a new one, what can I do? I mean, I have to think about it. Yeah, because it's hard to
avoid
actually,
that.
Yeah, avoid Mangelsdorf is pretty hard, because as soon as you play a multiphonic, people will say, "Oh, sounds like Mangelsdorf," and that's over. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with guitar. It's like if you play Joe Pass, those virtuoso solo guitar records. It's like everyone will, he listened to that or whatever, because all these guys set such high standards on solo instrument.
Maybe, yeah.
Whatever instrument we're talking about, I guess, so it's funny to get rid of that.
Especially if you go into that vein.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then it's quickly there. So yeah, cool, man. I will not take more of your time. So thanks for sharing.
Well, I like to talk, but
thanks for sharing some of these thoughts.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Dr. Jazz. Dr. Jazz.